Okay, so as I said, this is the Florida Instructional Materials Center for the Visually Impaired Info and Updates, part one of three webinar series. So the second part, just so you know, and you should have seen this when you registered for today, the second part of the series will take place on November 19th and primarily address the annual census process. The third part will be March 18th and will primarily cover end of year procedures, including ordering textbooks from us, returning things to us, and all that good stuff. So our agenda today, we've got through our welcome. We're going to go over FIMC-VI services and resources and events that we have going on this year. We will try to get to follow-up and questions around 3:20, leave some time for evaluation and in-service credit forms, and adjourn by 3:30. And before we start, because it's the beginning of the new school year, hopefully you had summer off or some kind of time off, downtime. If you could share in the chat, what is one fun thing that you did this summer? Even if it was just like one afternoon of fun, hopefully it was more than that. What did you do this summer, Tiffany? That was fun.
I went to Orlando. I
Mm.
went, I spent some time in my pool with my kids.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, out in that
I went to Maine.
warm. Oh yeah, yeah. She went to Maine. Yeah. All right. Hannah took my son to Great Wolf Lodge in Naples. I have heard of that hotel. I think it's a chain, right? The Great Wolf Lodge. It seems like a very popular, like fun place
Did
to
you do
go.
magical things with wands? Did you get to do that? That's fun.
Oh, is that a thing? Okay.
They have
Um,
that and they usually have like water parks. Those are fun.
yeah, yeah, lots of slides, perfect for little, lots of magic. Oh, that's awesome.
Yay, fun.
Carmen went to Austin, Texas for the first time. Yeah, I've never been there. And you met your baby
Oh,
niece. Oh, congratulations.
babies.
Yes.
Home
Candace
renovation.
has been
Well,
appreciated. I'm sure
the
it's
end
not fun
result.
while you're in it, but once it's done, it's real fun.
The end result is always fun.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Cool.
Oh, well, thank you all for sharing. It's just a nice reminder to think back on what you did and help get yourself geared up for the coming year or the year that's here. All right, so our objective for today is that you are going to learn about the basic functions of the FIMC-VI portal, which if you've been around, hopefully you have used by now. Which students are eligible for products from the American Printing House for the Blind, our upcoming professional learning opportunities and special events for the 26-27 school year. Um, for the in-service and or ACVREP credit, your opening code to take note of for now is order, and we'll have the form at the end for you to fill out to get the credit. And Tiffany did put that code in the chat along with our handout if you would like to refer to that. So I think everyone here is familiar with who we are, but I'll just go ahead and share these slides here to make sure everyone is familiar. So we are a statewide resource center for K-12 students who are visually impaired and enrolled in a public school, private school, charter school, or being homeschooled. We are located in Hillsborough County Public Schools. They are our fiscal agent. And we are an Individuals with Disabilities Education Act funded state project that is maintained by the Florida Department of Education, Bureau of Exceptional Education and Student Services. Our vision is that we are striving for access and success at the highest levels for all students with visual impairments. And our mission is to promote the success of Florida students with visual impairments by providing free, high quality, accessible instructional materials in a timely manner, and also providing teachers, administrators, families, agency personnel, and all others with resources and opportunities for training and professional learning that is relevant to our students in this state. So this is just a brief summary of our services that we provide. We'll be going into each of these some more as we go through this webinar. So these are all free services that we have. And one of the main things that we do is we support district or local education agencies, LEAs, in the procurement or production and distribution of accessible instructional materials, so Braille and large print. We also provide a variety of professional learning opportunities, which we'll hear more about towards the end of the webinar today, including quality programs for students with visual impairments. We partner with the American Printing House for the Blind to identify eligible students and provide free products to support their accessible education. Related to that, we have a loan library that houses many items, including curriculum and even technology for stakeholders to trial when you're identifying the best tools and resources for students. And FIMC, we put on student and family events each year promoting the student achievement, including the FIMC-VI Regional Braille Challenges, the Florida King Quest, and the Florida APH Abacus Math Bee. And last but not least, we offer technical assistance to our state and LEA partners. So we are direct support that is here for you. You can call us, email us with any questions that you have. We do have, you'll notice, and I think Tiffany's going to mention this as well, on our evaluation form that we have for our trainings, there's an opportunity in there to ask for additional assistance with either training that we provided or another topic that you need assistance with. So we are definitely here to support you however you need. All right, so every summer we at FIMC always have special projects that we're working on. You're going to see some of these new products that we developed. One of the things that happened over the summer, if you've been to our website, you might notice that it looks a little bit different. So we went through a website refresh to help address some of the accessibility issues that we were having on there with our old format that we had. So this slide and the next one is just showing you what your options are in the top menu when you go to our website. So those links that are at the very top of the page and the black banner up there. So starting in the top left corner, you have the FIMC-VI logo, which represents our homepage. And so this is where you'll see a description of all of our services that we have, including eligibility for those services, and there's links and to forms and other things throughout that page. So that's a good place to go if you're just trying to wrap your head around everything that we offer. Then the very next link that's up there, or sorry, the first link at the top left under the FIMC-VI logo is to the FIMC-VI portal. So that takes you to the separate system that's outside of our website where you order everything that you're looking to request from us. So that includes APH and Perkins Braillers and repairs, loan library requests, textbooks, student registration, and the annual census. So all of those things are happening within the portal, which I'll talk more about later. The forms page has the links to all of the forms that we have available for providing feedback, whether it's on textbooks or statewide assessment or training, other forms related to professional learning, like our in-service credit form, and the parent consent form for the annual census and registering students with us. The next one that we have is resources. So this is the biggest section of our website. There's all kinds of resources on every area of the ECC. There's resources for instruction and assessment and eligibility, resources for leaders on retention and recruitment of teachers within their districts. So there's Florida-specific resources in there, and then there's other sections. One of the first sections that you see on that page is downloadable documents. So those are documents that we at FIMC-VI have created, and we post those there so you can easily find them. And they're on a variety of topics. So you definitely want to check that out. And Tiffany will be referring to some of the most recent ones that we posted when we get to the professional learning section. After the resources section in that top menu, you're going to see training. So that's where you can go to find all of our upcoming virtual and in-person professional learning events and see the details about when and where and register for those events. Then the next section is our student and family events. So you'll see there for Braille Challenge, King Quest, Abacus Bee, all of the details for that, for registering and deadlines and volunteer sign up, all that good stuff. And again, we're going to go into more detail on these things as we get to the closer to the end of the webinar today. The next is recorded webinars. So that's where you'll find the recording for this session today, and it's separated by category. Then after that is our Teach in Florida page. That page is has some new things on there that wasn't in that section previously. So we added in there a LEA or district contact information page. So that way, if there's a teacher either in state or out of state who is looking for a job anywhere in Florida, they can go to that and find the contact information for whatever area or district that they're looking for. And there is the opportunity for districts to provide more, if there's more specific contact information, if someone's looking for a job, that can be submitted to us and we'll post it to that section of our website. We also have a job board now. So if a district is looking to hire or an agency, you can send us that information and we'll post it on there as well. So there's a section where you can fill out a form asking us to post a job for you. And there's even more things that are on that section of the website as well, but feel free when you have a chance to go check that out. Then the last option up there in the top menu is the contact us. So that's where you're going to see our whole staff listing and with all of our email addresses and our roles, so you can reach out to any of us at any time. So all of those things that I talked about are done by the staff that we have here at FIMC. We are not fully staffed at the moment. We do have some vacant positions. So on our support staff side of the house, we have an accounting clerk 3 position that will be filled this school year. We have a manager 2, which is Denise Battle. We have our secretary 3, which is Diana Przlowski. Our control clerk, Colleen Mulcahy, and then we're going to be hiring on another one later this school year. We have our accessible media producer, Diana Moyer. And then on our TSBI certified staff position side, myself as the supervisor, Tiffany as our coordinator, and then we have 3 statewide educational specialists that are focused on providing training, professional learning, coordinating student and family events. So Sue Glazer, Sherry Hart, and then our currently vacant but very soon to be filled position. And then our 4 statewide educational specialist is Tori Short, and she provides training and support of statewide assessment as well as support of the review and test development process for statewide assessment. And then we also have 2 Braille and Accessible Assessment Specialist staff. That's Kathy Kompleski and Karen Reno. And their work is solely focused on providing support to the Bureau of K-12 student assessment and the development of those Braille versions of statewide assessments. So before we continue, if you could put in the chat, have you ever used FIMC-VI services before? Yes or no? I feel like everyone here has, but I'm just curious if there's anyone new on here. Yes, okay. Candace definitely has. All right. So that makes you all experts, which means that the information you gain today, you're going to take back to your districts and share with your colleagues and your administrators to make sure that they're aware of what we do as well. All right. So before I move on, I do just want to say, so I mentioned that we have that vacant statewide educational specialist position. So next week, Diane Luce will be joining us to fill that position that we have. She is a teacher of students with visual impairments. She's a certified orientation mobility specialist, and she's working towards her being a certified assistive technology instructional specialist as well. She has decades of experience working with individuals of all ages who are visually impaired, and we're really looking forward to her joining the team, especially helping support us in our assistive technology. So she'll be here to do that and help support our loan library. So keep an eye out for new things coming from her. So first, we're going to talk about our accessible instructional materials. So we currently have an entire media center at the middle school that we're housed at that is filled like floor to ceiling, wall to wall with shelves full of Braille and large print textbooks and ancillary materials, recreational reading materials, and currently, we produce large print in-house and order some of those materials from vendors, but all of the Braille that we provide is purchased from approximately 30 different vendors across the country. Um, and so right now we have Denise Battle and Diana Moyer who are working with the various aspects of textbook procurement, production, and inventory. We have over 30,000 Braille and large print books in that inventory, if you can kind of envision that really big room full of books. And we provide over 2,000 books and materials to students annually. And like I said, we have the capacity to make the large print materials. We're purchasing Braille from outside vendors, and our shipping and receiving, which is Denise and Diana assisting, manages distribution and warehousing of all of those things. And if you are new to us, I did want to make sure that you are aware. So we are not we don't take the list of the state adopted materials and go out and produce all the books that are there. We produce or order books as they are requested from us. So we wait until the order comes from the teacher and then we do what we need to provide the book. And then we expect all of those things to be sent back to us so that we can recirculate and share those materials across the state. For initial Braille textbook production, as a reminder, if it's an initial transcription, a book that has never been produced in Braille before by anyone anywhere that we know of, it's very likely that we're going to need a physical copy of the textbook or an ink print of the book before we can start production. So keep an eye out for those emails from Denise if she is asking you for one of those. We always start production at the beginning of the book because oftentimes we are getting orders for the same book from different districts. So we don't really know where, a teacher is going to start with that book. So we just start at the beginning. And like I said, you want to plan to return all of those Braille materials back to us at FIMC so we can recirculate from year to year. And I mentioned that textbook feedback form that's on the form page of our website. We do appreciate you all letting us know if you find issues with the book because the volume that we process, there's no way for us to do that kind of quality control and look and see if there are issues. So if you do find things like that, please do fill that out, or you can email me or Denise Battle as well to let us know. And just a reminder that for those initial books, it can take 3 to 12 months to complete, especially on the longer side if it's a more complex, tactographic, math-heavy type of book. For large print, a reminder that you always want to be doing that learning media assessment beforehand to determine if large print is educationally necessary, right? Because we know that research shows that students can comprehend better with prescribed optical devices or digitally enlarged text than hard copy large print. So that's what we're seeing from research. So I have the information for the Florida Low Vision Initiative at the end of this slide deck, but they are a great resource for students through the age of 14 who are reading, who may benefit from a low vision device. And they did do a webinar with us I can't remember if that was last week or the week prior, but we do have a recorded webinar from them on the recorded webinars page of our website where you can find more information as well. So back to ordering textbooks. So of course it makes sense, but ordering sooner is better, right? Especially when you're talking about Braille. So this is just kind of giving you an overview of those timelines of how long it takes to get a book made based on when you're submitting that order, assuming that everyone wants their books by the beginning of August when students come back. So submitting orders in March, you have pretty good odds, 90% that you're going to have the book by the beginning of the school year. Large print is going to be higher overall, of course, because that's not nearly as challenging to produce or time or labor intensive. And then as every month goes by, the percentage of orders that are shipped complete by August goes down. So in July, you're looking at 12%. And of course, that also, if it's a copy of a book, if we have to go have it made by a vendor again, that might take a month. If it's a book that's on the shelf, you're going to get it within a week or so. If it's a book that's brand new, then those are the ones that are going to take longer, right? Because we all know when you're thinking about those Braille textbooks, every single graphic, image, chart, map, things like that, sidebars, caption, call out, a Braille transcriber has to be looking at all of those and making decisions about what they're going to do with that. If they're going to make a tactile graphic, if they're going to do an image description. So that's why it takes longer, right? I think we all know that, but just a reminder. And so as far as the overall process of ordering textbooks, we cover that in detail in the third part of this webinar series. So if you haven't done that yet and you are not sure how to order textbooks from us, then you're going to want to go back and find the part 3 webinar. It's linked on this slide from the end of last school year. There's the PowerPoint handout that you can refer to, and this is going to cover that whole process, including special order requests. So those are the ones where it's a brand new book and the related ink print request for the physical copy of the book, and how you can check the order status on your textbook orders. And if you have any questions about textbook ordering or the statuses, you can contact Denise Battle. All right, so next we're going to talk about the FIMC portal. And so the portal, we launched this October, the first launch was October of last year, and then we launched the rest of the things that we wanted in there, I think in January. So we already have quite a bit of training material on how to use the FIMC portal. So for this webinar, I'm not going to go into all of the details, but I'm just going to point out some of the things that we wanted to make sure you all were aware of or to remind you of. And then if you need more additional information, you can go and check out, I have on here the portal user guide, which is a very lengthy document with screenshots, but it has a table of contents. So you can go to the table of contents and look for the specific thing that you're trying to do. All right, so the portal, in order to use the portal, you have to be registered in it. You have to have an account. So you're going to go in, if you don't have an account already, you're going to go and you're going to see a register link and you're going to sign up. And then your administrator is going to need to go in and approve you. They're the one saying, yes, this person is part of our team and I want them to be able to do all of the things, which include being able to see student identifiable information. So being in there and approved allows you to register students with us, complete the annual census of the students that are in your district or LEA or agency, order those textbooks from us, order APH products, Perkins Braillers, and submit the repair requests for those, as well as loan library materials. So all of those things are in there. I have the link to the portal registration page on this slide as well. If you have any questions or issues with accessing the portal, reach out to me and we'll troubleshoot with that. So then the next slide here, we wanted to give you all this information, not necessarily that you're the one that's doing this, but we do know that as far as the administrators approving users, they might need just like a quick, short summary of the steps that they need to go through in order to approve people. But we are saying that for ESE directors, admin, delegates, those are the ones who are able to approve users within a district, LEA, agency, whatever the organization is. That ideally they're going to be reviewing the list of the users in their organization in the portal to make sure that it matches current staff. So as staff leave, then they should be made not approved so that they aren't able to sign in to do the things that are in there. But these are the steps that an administrator is going to follow, okay? They're going to sign in using their work email. We always have the reset password option. Everyone can use that if you're not able to remember what that is. And they're going to do the user management tile. And then this next step is something that is important across the board in the portal. Whenever you're searching for things, to select the clear button and the search button. That removes all of the filters and helps to make sure that you're going to see everything that's in a list wherever you are in the portal. So then the administrator updates the approval status of the individual, which is over on the far right. It's a drop down, and then you have to select the save button after updating that status. And then that's it. Then the person who was approved, the next time they go to the portal, they'll be able to sign in and do what they need to do. So if you have any new staff, any new members on your team, they need to go in and register so they can be approved as well. Okay. Then the other thing we wanted to highlight here was for the students, before you register a new student in your district, it's a good idea to go in and make sure the student isn't already in your district, because with this system, you can see every student that is under your district or organization, regardless of who registered the student, who's ordered materials for that student. It's all there for everyone who's approved in your district or organization. So the way to make sure you're seeing all of the students in your list, of course, you're signing in, you're going down to the student management tile. And when you're there, again, you're clear search, right? Clear search. That's like the process you want to always follow here. And then you're going to go down to the student list and you'll be able to see all of them. If you do want to look for that one student rather than scrolling, and there are sorting filters in there where you can like click the button to resort the list. You can use those, but you really just want to use one search field or sorting at a time. So if you want to search by name, you're going to use the clear button to clear all of your filters, whatever might be there, and type just the student's first or last name in the name field and then search and look at the list, because if you add too much information, it could be possible that the student's not going to show in your list. Okay, so you want to just put in as much information as you can to kind of narrow your results, but not so much that now it's not going to appear. So hopefully that will help you all to make sure that you're not inadvertently registering a student who isn't already there. So for adding new students, we're doing census in January. That's the time that we always do it, and I'll say a little bit more about that later. But you don't need to wait until census to register students. You can do that at any time. And that's again on that student management tile that's toward the bottom of the page when you sign into the portal. And once you're on the student management page, there's two places where there's an add student link. And you just go through and you enter all of the information and you answer all of the questions based on the information that you have. You submit all of that to us at FIMC, and once we approve the student, and whether it's an addition or an update, the student status is going to change from pending to approved. So then you'll be able to order things for that student. Because for a lot of the things in our portal, you have to select the student that that item is for. So that's an important thing to do before you're ordering materials. And I segued perfectly there. So yes, registering new students, you need to do that before you order things like textbooks, APH products, and Perkin brailers. All of those require a student to be selected. And like I said, all students that are new to your district or organization should be registered. Students should only be registered with one organization that receives APH quota funds. So here in Florida, we at FIMC are not the only place that can order APH products. The other places are the Florida School for the Deaf and the Blind, the Miami Lighthouse, and then the Division of Blind Services has an account that they use for older students. But and there may be another one that I'm not aware of, but just to be aware that students should only be registered with one of those types of entities. When you're registering students, you do have to have medical report information in order to answer the questions that are related to that. And you want to have that parent consent form signed and on file in your district or LEA. But if you don't have that, you can still register the child with us. You just can't request APH materials or brailers for that student. You can only request textbooks for that student. Okay, so there is a difference. So you can register them, but then you can, if you get consent later, you can come back and update that so that it's reflected in the student record that there is consent available. You're gonna add something, Tiffany?
Yeah, and you don't have to re-register them. You can just edit their existing record and say that I got that parent consent. I think
Mm-hmm.
the only thing I was going to add is when we're talking about they can only be registered under one organization. I think we're also talking about like your local lighthouses. So
Mm-hmm.
many of you have students that you serve, and then they're also perhaps served like through the transition program at the lighthouse, or you receive a little one in preschool or in kindergarten, and there's some overlap of services that maybe they're still seen by an early interventionist through maybe a lighthouse or an agency serving the blind.
Mhm.
But once the student transitions to the public school setting, the public school becomes the agency who registers
Mhm.
the student. So only one of you can can register
Mhm.
with us at FIMC. And so sometimes we see maybe a lighthouse wants to also register, but then there's going to have to be some communication between the lighthouse or the agency serving the blind and the
Mhm.
school district for when the child needs materials.
Yeah, and that's all based on APH because the students are reported with us and then they're at census time, they're reported into all the students across the whole country are put in this big national list and there can't be any duplicates. So that we can't double dip, right? So
Right.
that's why we have to say that only one entity, whoever the primary service provider is registering the child with us.
Lucky that we all keep in touch and we can just, you can let the school district, or if it's a lighthouse that's owning, sees the student primarily, we can all communicate and make sure the student gets what they need.
Exactly. For the consent forms, I did just want to wrap up on this slide. We do have consent forms to register students with us for APH in multiple languages, and those are located on the form page of our website. Candace, so I see your question in there. So yes, so if you have a new director, we will update the director on our end. And we can contact that person as well to make sure. And it looks like you were getting an error message. If you could send me an email and we'll try to get that sorted out. But yes, yeah, if you have a new ESE director in your district, we definitely need to know that so that we can make sure they get updated in our system because they're the ones that are ultimately approving the users, or they can assign a delegate. That could be like a team lead or a coordinator or something like that that can also approve users. So yes, Candace, if you could shoot me an email about that, we'll be sure to get that sorted out. All right. So when you go to the website for the portal.fimcvi.org, this is what the landing page looks like. You've got sign in and register there. And then once you're signed in, you see a page that looks like this that has tiles on it. And we're going to just take a quick look at some of the student management things that I talked about just to show you what that looks like as well. So you're scrolling down toward the bottom of the page to get to student management. And not everyone sees all of these tiles. If you are just a TSBI, not just a TSBI, but if you are not an administrator, an ESE director, delegate, you're not going to see the user management tile. Okay, that's only for the administrators who have that approval to, the permission to approve users. But if you're a TSBI, a para, district leader, things like that, then you're going to be able to see the student management tile. So this is what I was referring to, that process of making sure you're checking to see that the student isn't already registered in your district. This is so you're seeing your entire student list and making sure that there are no filters existing on the page. So you've got your clear button, which is number one, the search, number two, and then you scroll down and you'll see the list of students with the name being to the far left. There is the student ID number is still something that is in our system. In the past, that was what you needed to have in order to submit orders to us. The purpose of the student ID now, because the student is something you actually pick when you submit the order. You don't need the student ID for that part of the process of actually submitting orders to us. The student ID is for the communication process now, right? Because we don't want to put student identifiable information in emails. So if you want to send us an email about an order for a student, you can go in here and find the student's name and see what that student ID is and use that when you're sending emails to us here at FIMC. And then we'll look up that student on our end and we'll find what we need, what you're looking for. But just to really make sure that we're not putting student names and dates of birth and things like that in emails. But Also, this top section here might look different at some point during this school year, where we're kind of looking at simplifying it a little bit for you all so you don't have quite as much information. And even this slide here is going to show more than what you all have. But so that's where you're going for that. And also I don't show this here, but when you scroll down and you see the student's name, there's going to be an edit, like a pencil icon over on the very far right, and that's where you can go to then edit the student, and it loads the information that's currently there, and you can make changes. So for instance, if you did get parent consent and you're adding that, or the student's acuities changed, or their educational plan changed, or their learning media changed, something different, then you can go in and go to that edit pencil icon and then resubmit the information to us, which will change the student back to pending. So then we'll see that, we'll go in and approve those edits, and then the student will be available to you again. Okay, so that's it for the students. That's what we're going to cover today about that. And now we're going to talk about the other things that are within our portal. So at the top of the page, you see we have textbooks, APH, loan library, braillers. And again, these are not visible to everyone who sets up an account. So like we have it where if you're a gen ed teacher, you can register for an account with the portal, but all you're going to see is the loan library. We're not letting them register students. We're not letting them order textbooks and APH products. It's only our staff that are specifically trained and certified to work with our students who are visually impaired who have access to those things. So overall, with all of those categories where you're ordering the things from us, I wanted to point out some things that are important to remember. In each of those textbooks, APH, loan library, braillers, there's going to be an add to queue link. For textbooks, you might have order request or special order request, but there may also be an add to queue link. If you click on add to queue, the process is not done and we haven't received the order from you yet, okay? All that did was move the order to your queue or your shopping cart, and it's going to be under pending if you go to your queue page. So it's pending submission of your order to us, okay? So we don't have those yet. No location, shipping location, or student has been selected for that order yet. So it has not been submitted. So you still need to make sure you go and do that step. So let me just point out. So in the queue, this is what it looks like. You've got pending at the top, and you can see there's an order here. There's a cancel request button that's got the orange circle highlighting it. There's a checkbox there, which you're checking. You check the box, and then for textbooks, you're doing your need to, your need from dates, and you're assigning your shipping location and your student. The other items, you're just doing a shipping location and the student. For loan library, we just need a shipping location. We don't require student information for that. But make sure you're going through and clearing out your pending section of your queue. And then when you scroll down on that page, you'll see the processing section of your queue. Okay, so once the order is submitted under the pending section, it's going to move down to processing until we have completed the order. Okay. So if an item shows add to queue, the order is going to be fulfilled from our shelf, our existing inventory, or ordered from APH, depending on what category we're talking about. But under processing, you can view the status of the order, like I said, until it's been shipped fully complete, and then you'll be able to see the information in the loan history section. So when you're on the page of whatever it is, APH, textbook, loan library, braillers, where you're finding the things, at the top, there's always a queue button and a loan history button. So loan history is where you see your completed orders. So here we're just gonna kind of give you a reminder of the difference here, queue versus loan history. So queue is where you're only seeing your orders, so things that you yourself have submitted, whether they are pending or processing. And remember, you're not going to get any confirmation emails about any orders that are placed or status updates. If you want to check on anything, you need to go sign in and look in your queue and your loan history to see what's going on. If it seems like something's missing, you can always email our staff. But on the loan history side, that's where the processed orders are, and that's where all students in your entire district or organization, all of the orders for all of those students are going there. So Q is your own stuff. Loan history is everyone, okay? One thing I did want to point out here though is I know sometimes there's questions of like what materials were provided for a student, things like that. I would caution against using that information in our portal as some type of documentation for the provision of materials because we do know there may be times where something's ordered using one student, but it was actually given to a different student. And so we can't really say based on this which student actually received the item or is using the item. But so that's where you're going to find all that information. And then for all of the categories for canceling orders, when you're in the queue to see your pending and processing orders, again, remember pending, it has not been submitted to us. Processing, it's in review, has not been processed. Some of the categories have a wait list processing, which means that once we add the inventory, we're going to send you the item. If the order is on that page and there's a cancel button and you need to cancel, go ahead and cancel the order and you don't need to do anything else. If the order is on that page and it's under processing and there is not a cancel button and you need to cancel the order, contact us directly to do so. And I think textbooks is really the only category where that's going to happen. So you would be emailing Denise, but just for any situation, if you're like, oh no, I don't need that anymore, just contact us and we'll make sure it's canceled on the back end. All right, so we're going to look at the APH products in the portal. We have our APH category and then our Brailler category because our Braillers are ordered through APH. So an overview, if you are new to all of this, just to give you some background, the American Printing House it was created based on, back in 1879, Congress passing an act to promote the education of the blind. So APH, based on that, was designated as the official supplier of educational materials to all students in the U.S. who meet the definition of blindness and are working at less than the college level. So myself as FIMC-VI supervisor, I am an ex officio trustee of APH on behalf of the Florida Department of Education. So we receive federal quota funds to order products from APH for the students who are registered with us and have that parent consent. Okay, so when you're going in there to order materials, you're going to start with the APH shop site, okay? Because there might be things that are that you know about, but the product has been discontinued or it's on back order or some other situation. So it's always best to start with the APH website and make sure that you know it's available and you have a catalog number. And if you want to see descriptions and things like that, because the portal does not have descriptions of APH products in it. So then you're going to go over to the portal and you're going to use the partial name of the product or the catalog number from the APH site and submit your order that way. We do have some things that we do not allow to be ordered through the APH part of the portal. They're restricted and they're housed in our loan library. So they're not going to show in the APH list, but they'll be in the loan library list. Braillers, you're going to request through the Brailler tile in the portal. And just an overall reminder that orders can take 4 to 6 weeks to arrive after they are submitted to APH because they're processing and then they use free matter for the blind to ship things. If you think there's something missing from the APH catalog in the portal, contact Colleen. We receive good funding from APH for our federal quota, but we do try to be judicious with it and make sure that everyone is getting what they need for their students. So, and it's not a huge amount of money that we receive per student, it's about $450. And you think about just a Perkin Brailler is $1,000, right? So it does add up quickly, which is why, so we have our things like the APH technology and assessment kits are in the loan library, the loan instead of having you all order those directly. I wanted to highlight here some new and updated products from APH, which exciting. They're always coming out with new things. If you're not on the APH mailing list, I think it's their newsletter list, you want to sign up for that so you can learn about stuff that's coming out. But I'm not going to go through all of these because of our time, but if you want to come back and check these out, the one that and some of these are updates. So like the Building on Patterns Kindergarten and Math Builders, Geometry and Statistics, those are updates to existing products. And the rest are new things. But the Any Math Kit was the thing that was the most exciting to me that I learned about recently. It's what we have the picture of in the top right corner of this slide. And it's kind of like a new graphics kit, but I also heard students saying they like this more than the math window. If you're familiar with that magnetic board where you're laying out the math with tiles. So that's an exciting new product to check out, and it's available in UEB and Nemeth. So yeah, go ahead and see if you want to get one of those to benefit any of your students. So a reminder, the criteria for quota funds and receiving APH products, you do have to have that parent consent information. The other APH criteria are met by the information that you provide when you register the child with us. To be counted during census, the student has to be enrolled with your registering school or agency on the first Monday in January, which is why we do census in January. And like Tiffany was saying, only one school or agency can register a child. We can't do any double dipping, so there may be a situation where those two organizations are going to have to communicate to make sure the student is getting what they need. So for census, we'll go into much more detail on this in part 2 of this webinar series, but for now, just remember that this is something that we do for every student every year. We want to make sure all the students are counted as long as we have all the information that we need, including the medical report information, parent consent. So November 19th is that webinar, like I said before. We'll also be making sure that ESE directors and other administrators are aware that census is coming and that it's open, so they can double check and make sure that the necessary staff have access to go in and register and or update students. This is also helpful too for the annual census. I just wanted to say now that this helps us get like a national count of the number of students that are visually impaired. So it helps just kind of give the federal government more data on the number of students that are across the country, because the data that come from states may not necessarily capture the same number of students that APH is. So for APH specifically, when you're looking in the loan history category, and I'm going to give you this slide for all of the other categories as well. This is just kind of a reference for you to know that if you're seeing different statuses, what those statuses mean, okay? And these are for APH, these are APH specific statuses based on their own inventory and what's available and what is not. Colleen may not communicate with you about all of these, but if it's a cancellation and she needs to cancel it, then she's going to let you know that it's being canceled and why, or if you need to cancel it on your end. So I touched on this a little bit, but for APH products, we do have our policies of what we allow to be ordered and what is not available to be ordered. So just about everything, if it's under $1,000, is approved for ordering. Some exceptions are the assessments from Curriculum Associates and the Video Mag HD, but that does mean that the Joy Player, Code Jumper, Braille Buzz, Fusion, which is JAWS and Zoom Text, are things that are available for you to order. Some things that are over $1,000 that we allow you to request are the Perkins Braillers and the Building on Pattern Pre-K. Reminder, so APH's fiscal year is October through September, which means that as they get into September, their national crush of orders of all of the organizations across the country trying to spend down all of the money that they have from APH. It gets pretty intense for them, from what I understand, which makes sense. So we're closing down our APH ordering to kind of help facilitate that spend down between September 5th to September 30th. So if you have anything that you need from APH, you want to get those orders in now, okay? Because if it's after September 5th, then you're going to have to wait until we reopen that part of the portal to submit orders again. If you have questions about your APH product orders, please contact Colleen. For Perkins brailers, those are in that separate tile of the portal. We have the light touch or classic. All of the new ones are light touches, but we still have classics floating around out there. We have the repair requests process built in there, just like if you used our form that we had previously. And it's a lot of the same information. So when you submit the repair request, you can request a replacement at the same time. And you're doing the same thing as you did before, where there's going to be a pop-up that prompts you to print information to put in the box with the broken brailer, which you then ship directly to APH for repair via free matter for the blind. And remember that the broken/repaired brailers will not be sent back to you. We did want to ask that if you have a page connect, because you're not getting that brailer back, if you have a page connect attached to the bottom of the brailer, please remove that and put the original brailer base back onto the brailer before sending it to repair, because we're not sure if that page connect is going to get lost in the shuffle. If there's a brailer that you don't need anymore, we've had that where somebody opened a closet and found a dozen brailers or something, and like, we don't have any use for these, you can go ahead and send them back to us. Attention Denise, and we will add them to our inventory or get repaired as needed. So for the Perkin brailer, these are your loan history statuses here. You can check these out as a reference if you're just curious what various things mean, but it should be pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to move on to the loan library, our separate section in the portal that we have. So for the loan library, a reminder that overall the items that are sent out from there are intended to be used for trial prior to your district or organization purchasing. So there's nothing in the loan library that's considered consumable. Okay. So to find those things, you're going to that tile, you can search by product name, title, author, keyword. Again, like the less you use, the better, right? To make sure things are coming back as results. For APH products, you can use the catalog number in that search field for the things that are in the loan library. We do have for video magnifiers and refreshable braille displays, we have some comparison charts available if you go to the loan library page. So that's linked directly, or if you go to our homepage and find it that way, you can find those comparison charts that we have. So for right now, if you are looking for advice on product selection from the loan library, you can contact our general information at FIMC-VI.org email. But once Diane is officially with our team, she is the one that you will be going to for advice on those things. So the loan library, we have a variety of technology in there. We do ask that you be gentle with that technology because we don't have the ability always really to replace things if they are damaged. But the devices that we have are things like the Cloverbook Pro, Humanware Reveal 16, Victor Reader Track, the Brilliant, Poly, Jupiter, Juno, Chameleon, Mantis, Page Blaster, Pixblaster, and Bluetooth switches. So you'll notice a lot of that APH technology that's over $1,000, it's going in here, and this is how you're borrowing it. The length of the loan time varies by the device and the product, and you will see that information when you go in the portal. It'll show you what the loan terms are. We do really ask that you stick to that, especially for our technology. Those items can have a wait list where somebody else is waiting to trial that device with the student during their data collection and assessment process. So please do be mindful of those. And also for all of this technology as part of our, fiscal requirements of asset inventory, things like that with our Hillsborough County Public Schools, we do need to have that hold harmless signed for those loans. Okay, so Colleen sends those out, and we just ask that you make sure to sign those and send them back so we have a nice, clean asset inventory report with the district. if you have questions about loan items or terms, or you need an extension on a loan, or you need a return label for a loan, contact Colleen for those. Um, I'll just add too, for the technology, you want to make sure you hold on to the box that it comes in and all of the accessories, but really for anything, our assessment kit come with quite a bit of stuff too. Just making sure you hold on to everything so that it can all be sent back to us when you are done with the item. For technology magnification devices, braille displays, we do try to limit to 2 items at a time per teacher to give as many teachers and students as possible the opportunity to try out the devices that we have. For the loan library statuses, when you're in the loan history page, these are the things that you will see here. So lots of various things. If something is lost or damaged, contact Colleen to report that so that we know that on our end. And that's it for the portal. I know that was a lot, so I'm just gonna check in the chat real quick. I know Tiffany put some things in there. Okay. All right. So we are going to switch over now to sharing about our professional learning and events. So Tiffany, I will continue driving the slide deck.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, of
Yeah, we
course.
have a lot going on this year. So, as Liz mentioned, I'm Tiffany. We have a team, a small and mighty team of professional learning staff made up of myself, Sherry Hart, Sue Glazer, and soon to be Diane Luce. So we're very excited for that addition. All of the trainings and events that we offer are free for our teachers, parents, agency personnel, and anyone else who wants to attend who is providing services to our students throughout the state. We do provide certificates for in-service or ACVREP credit when you complete one of our trainings and meet all the requirements for the event. But teachers are responsible for obtaining in-service points through their own district or LEA. But we do encourage you to visit the training page of our website to see what learning opportunities are happening this year. There's a lot. We have a variety of self-paced online courses coming soon on our Moodle site. So we are transitioning from Canvas to Moodle. Our staff, Sherry, has been working diligently to get some of our courses up and running on Moodle. And so far, I think we have our course for classroom teachers who might be new to meeting the needs of students with visual impairments. We have our course for school psychologists and TSVIs that's back up and running. And we have our course for a Braille learning community, and that's up and ready for you. And so we'll keep at it, keep moving things back, and soon we'll have our deaf blind courses, and Diane will be with us, and we'll get our JAWS courses back up and running. So keep checking back to see what's up and running on Moodle. But we have a variety of webinars that are still available for you on our recorded webinars page. So there's no shortage of content and resources, always there for you. Okay, so what do we have going on this year? Let's see. We have some webinar series. So we created some new series. The first one is we're calling Elevate VI Services. And this series is designed to improve services for students with vision impairments. And we're really looking to strengthen participants' understanding of effective program design and implementation. So this is going to explore the components of high quality vision programs and provide strategies for using data to inform programmatic decision making. Participants who go to the series will also examine approaches to developing balanced caseloads and ensuring consistent application of best practices. We're going to also focus on supporting professionals in making informed determinations regarding appropriate time, frequency, and intensity of services for our students. the assessment team has also prepared a webinar series for us, and these webinars are going to focus on general updates for anyone who is administering Florida statewide assessments for students with vision impairments, including the FSA alternate assessment, and preparing for computer-based testing with Braille access. Something exciting, Sherry is holding a really awesome PLC book study this year that's going to meet monthly and is going to focus on sensing and learning, looking at the guidebook and applying that theory in real world educational settings. So if you haven't signed up for that and you're working with some of those kiddos, you know they're on their caseload. So sign up and join Sherry and the rest of that crew in that book study.
Can I just add, because I spoke with someone the other day who hadn't made this connection, but the Sensing and Learning Guidebook is the updated version of the Sensory Learning Kit.
Yes.
So the Sensory Learning Kit is not a thing anymore. This is the new thing. It's been out for a while, but just so you're aware that that's what this is.
The new SLK.
Yes.
New and improved. Okay, so we already talked about the Moodle courses. So Canvas is now Moodle. We're still learning that too. We're going to have 2 working with the experts this year. One in the fall on understanding and implementing the learning media assessment. And so this is going to be a highly interactive 2-day workshop for all of our TSVIs, and we're hoping to kind of dive deep into the purpose and all the components of a quality learning media assessment. And we're going to look at effective strategies for administering an LMA and explore how to collect meaningful and objective data to inform instructional and literacy decisions. In the spring, we're going to offer a second working with the experts, and this one's going to be wonderful too. We're going to bring back Stacy Chambers. She was here with us, I guess, two years ago. And she's going to provide for us another 2-day workshop, this time focusing wholly on the symbols and meaning curriculum. But this is where communication really begins with meaning. And so before students can use symbols effectively, they have to first develop an understanding of things that are around them, people, objects, actions, places that make up their world. And so the symbols and meaning curriculum through the American Printing House for the Blind is a curriculum and sort of a theory of practice that Stacy's worked really deeply within. And so she's going to come and provide a really awesome training for us in March.
And that's like building, that's like the next step after Sensing and Learning.
Yes.
Right? So that's like it's like a 2-part thing. So doing both would be ideal.
Yeah, it would. So you can keep building the skills of that population of students that you're serving. So then this link here below that is our vision contact support. So every year we try to provide a lot of support for our leadership that's out there supporting our teachers. So we want to be there for you. We're going to provide quarterly meetings, 3 virtual, and then right next to our spring working with the experts, we're going to have an in-person vision contacts meeting in the Orlando area. And so if you want to register for those, if you're the lead in your district or you are the contact, go ahead and click on that link or share it with the person who you believe should be attending. And so Liz mentioned this last thing, request for additional support. This is something, that we really want to promote this year. We want you to know that we are here for you. We create a lot of trainings and supports, but if we can't always predict exactly what you need. So if we haven't touched on it, we don't have it recorded for you. You need something a little more in depth. Fill out this form and let us know. If you don't tell us, we can't provide it. So this form, it looks like our evaluations form because it's a revamped evaluations form with an additional option of requesting additional support. So you'll see it later on when you do the QR code for submitting an evaluation. One of the options is to submit an evaluation and ask for additional support. So you can do either or. But if you need something from us, we want to know, we want to hear from you. So if you're looking for something, an additional training, please submit that request to us. Okay, so student and family events. We are continuing to do student and family events. We are continuing to switch things up and provide a little bit more here, move them around the state a little bit, try to get some more students and families involved. The Florida Abacus Math Bee is going to happen again this year. We hope it's going to be bigger and better as it keeps growing, but it's going to be in Jacksonville again. So this past year it was in Tampa, and we're moving back to the north. We're going to be in Jacksonville on October 3rd. Registration is open, so get your students registered, get yourself registered, get yourself in the car and drive over. It's a ton of fun. So we hope you can join us and volunteer. That's open now. Florida Cane Quest will be in Tampa on November 14th. Oh, registration for the Abacus Bee, Sue says deadline September 8th. All right, so we got to hustle. Do it now before you forget. If you're like me, write it down, post it right here, and get yourself and your students registered. Cane Quest is November 14th in Tampa. More information to come on that. Visit our website, Student and Family Events website. Florida Braille Challenge, such an exciting year. Did you know this is our 20th anniversary in Florida for the Braille Challenge? And so we're going to try to celebrate big. We're doing a special screening night on February 4th before the Tampa event. So if you're able to come to Tampa, come a little bit early. And we're doing a special screening of a documentary film, Brailled It, in Tampa. And Brailled It was made in LA. Filmmakers handed cameras to students who were attending the LA Braille Challenge and invited them to document the event over the whole weekend. And so this is a film captured through the eyes of our Braille readers who attended the LA finals. And so it's a really neat film completely from their perspective. So we're going to show that the evening of February 4th, and then have an amazing Tampa Braille Challenge on the 5th. We're going to have another amazing Braille Challenge on the February 20th in Miami at the Miami Lighthouse. So we encourage wherever you can attend, don't miss out on attending the 20th Braille Challenge with us in Florida.
I just want to add too, we tried to emphasize this last year and the year before that while these events, we have certain student populations who are going to participate, but there's always a parent workshop component which is open to any parents of any student with a visual impairment. So they don't have to have a child participating in the event to come and go to the parent workshop, but they do need to register as an adult
Yes.
so we know that they're going to be there.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for saying both of those things. Anyone is welcome to come to the workshop, but please, all adults who attend, whether you're volunteering or just coming to the workshop, we need all adults to register, please, so that we know you're coming. We know exactly how many fun people are attending and going to be in the building and how many eaters they're going to be. We just need to know how many people are going to celebrate with us. So register, register. All right, moving along. If you are not getting information from us and want to, make sure that you sign up for our Visual Field newsletter. We know there's been some, trickiness with getting these into district inboxes, but we want to work with you and try to make that happen. But through our newsletter and our emails, we're going to share training opportunities, current events, teacher tips, surveys, student camps, but we share things with over 2,500 people all throughout our state, agencies, all types of other partnerships. So we try to share, we're not going to try to slam your inbox with things, but you can sign up. There's also a link so that you can view our most current newsletters on our website if by chance they're getting stuck somewhere in your firewall. Don't miss out. You can at least favorite this website here where it says view our most recent newsletters. So you can always have access to them. Okay, so as Liz mentioned, our staff have been busy little bees all summer. Oh, did I miss? Sorry, we have TSVI mentor opportunities. So we have a lot of new teachers out there And we want to make sure that our new teachers who have come from universities have mentors that they can rely on to help them through these first few years of being just new, right? I think how helpful this would have been for me when I first graduated. And so, if you have someone who has just graduated or has just moved to Florida and you think that they might benefit from having a mentor assigned to them, please direct them to this link, have them sign up and to request a mentorship. I do want to just kind of point out that this is for university trained TVIs and O&M instructors. We are trying to create a more supportive system for anyone who is maybe out of field or alternatively certified, but this is for folks that have degrees. Okay. All right, so this is where I was headed. I thought I got a little ahead of myself here, but we've been busy all summer and we've been trying to create some things for you. So if you missed last year, we put out a webinar series, What Happens After Eligibility? And so this was a three-part series that is now available on our recorded webinars webpage. It's about how to effectively serve students once they've been made eligible. So it's on smart goal writing, good data collection, and how to use that data for ongoing review and modifying your plans just to continue upward progress, like good progress for students. And so it's a three-part series. Go ahead and check that out and share it with others on your team. The other thing kind of along those lines, and maybe as a part of that series, and kind of linked to our eligibility rule revision, was people were saying, well, what can we use? What data should we be reviewing when it comes time for a 3-year reeval? How can we make sure that we're reviewing the right things to decide if a student needs a reevaluation? And so we created a worksheet, a data review worksheet. This is a sample, a guiding tool that you can take back to your district and you can use within your teams when it comes time to look at data for each student at 3-year reeval time. And you can modify it as your district requires for you. It is a guiding sample. The next thing, or the next two, were created for districts to help because we know that there is a critical need for more TSVIs and more O&M instructors. And so the first one addressing the vacancy is what do we do? What data or how do we document when there is not a TSVI or an O&M instructor in a unit or there's a vacant position? How do we communicate that information? What things do we document? And how do we make sure that we're transparent with that information with all the people on the IEP team? So that's a good kind of one pager to follow in the event that you might have a vacancy on your team. And then if you do have a vacancy on your team, we created another resource that just has information about where you can advertise, where are some university programs, information about contracting, information about mentor support. So just kind of a collection of resources all in one place, and that is the personnel support and recruitment resource. And then finally, our CVI resources for teachers. Sherry put together this beautiful collection of trainings and teacher resources for those who are serving students that have cortical or cerebral visual impairment. And this is just literally a one-stop place that you can go and find information about this population of students. It's amazing. It's just nice to not have to scour the internet looking for the best of these resources. So thank you, Sherry. It's awesome. And many of these can be found in our resources and downloadable documents page of our website. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so that's all the things, right? There's a lot happening there. So you
For
might be
now,
trying
yeah.
to remember like who does what? I don't know. So we made this slide so you just have like one place to look to remember if you have a question about anything that we do, who do I go to? Of course, if you don't contact the right person, we're going to make sure you get to the right person and then you get the information you need. But this is just a reminder for professional learning. That's Tiffany. Student and family events, Sue Glazer. Quality program for students with visual impairments. If you're interested in that or you're participating in that or whatever, you're contacting Sherry Hart. If you have questions about portal registration and user management, contact me. For student registration questions, that's Tiffany again. Textbooks and Perkin Braillers are Denise. APH ordering and loan library requests is Colleen. And right now for loan library, advice and things like that, it's just our general information. But like I said earlier, that will be Diane starting sometime next week. Okay, so now you know who to go to for what. But in addition to us, we do have some other resources out here for you in the state. So I mentioned at the beginning the Florida Low Vision Initiative. So Samantha Kelly is she the new director? I don't remember her title. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So she is new to that project. So if you have students that might benefit from that program, go ahead and reach out to her, take a look at the recorded webinar that they just did with us. If you have students that are dual sensory impaired, deaf-blind, you want to make sure they are hooked up with the Florida and Virgin Islands Deaf-Blind Collaborative. They have their own census that they do. They have their own materials and resources that they can provide. So you don't want to miss that. So that's Michelle Pearson. Her email address is here. And then last but not least, if you have teachers that are looking to come into the field, especially those that already have an education degree and they're looking at becoming a TSDI, like a wonderful ESE teacher or something like that, the FSU program would be a great option for them. So if you have anyone who's interested in our own, in-state program that we offer, they can reach out to Michael Tuttle or Tim Puck. I believe the deadline has already passed. Yeah, their rolling deadline, I think, is July 1, but do contact them for more details because I don't know all of the details about that program. But yeah, because we definitely want to get more university trained teachers out there in the field. Okay. So that brings us down to the end here. So we have our QR code on the left, and I put the training page up at the top because both of these forms are on that page as well. So if for some reason this QR code, this just isn't working for you, and you can get to our website. If you go to the training page, you're going to see these forms as well. So the evaluation form, we do really appreciate your feedback, and that's also now where you can request additional support if you need to. Of course, at any time, you can also send any one of us an email. Some of our staff have the bookable calendar links. You can use those too. But so that's the evaluation form. And then for in-service and or ACBREP credit, your closing code is learn. Learn. So you're going to fill out the form and you're going to enter in the code that we provided and you're going to receive a certificate via email, which you must then provide to your district to have it approved in order to receive credit. Okay, if you don't get your certificate, like within a day or two, something went wrong. So let us know and we'll check on the back end to see if we can find it for you. I'm going to leave this slide here for another moment or two. Yes, and we have the links in the chat as well for you to fill out. The opening code was order. The closing with learn. Okay. All right, I'm going to switch over to our last slide here. So this is my email, eanderson@fimcvi.org. If you need anything from us, if you're sending materials to us, here's the address to use. Give us a call. And again, there's that sign up form for our newsletter if you're not receiving that, our website. We do have a YouTube channel. We put our recorded webinars on our YouTube channel. So if you're subscribed to that, then you'll get notifications whatever when we upload those. But thank you all again so much for joining us today. We're grateful for you and everything that you do. Please do share this with your teens, especially the things that are, for administrators, so they know about that Elevate VI webinar series we think is going to be very helpful, especially if you have a new administrator who's not familiar with our field. We do want to make sure people are aware of that. So share far and wide. And I hope you all have had a wonderful start to your school year, or that you will if it's not here yet for you. And yeah, thank you. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you at our next event, which is we have a statewide assessment webinar
The
coming up next.
18th.
The 18th. Yeah, this is a busy month. So
Yeah.
yes, so thank you all again. We'll hang out here for a few more minutes if anyone has any other questions for us, but otherwise you are free to go. Giving you the gift of 8 minutes.